Will you please give a brief introduction?
Yes. I was born in Plainview, Texas, in Hale County. I was mainly brought up in Perryton, Texas. I had a nuclear family, one sibling, a sister. My parents were married until the death of my father. My educational experience, I graduated from Perryton High School. I received a bachelor's degree from Texas Tech University, and I earned a master's from West Texas A&M. As far as a career, I started out in teaching the first year out of college. I then moved to Austin, Texas. I worked as a chemist for the Texas Air Control Board for 4 years. And then my husband was persuaded to return to the Panhandle for farming, and so the only job for a science person was teaching. So I taught school at Booker for a number of years, maybe 5 years. Quit that to go into business for myself for a couple of years. Taught at Booker again. In the interim, I ran a newspaper 1 year. Had an appliance store for 4 or 5 years. And then I ended up back in education after I received my master's, and I was in school administration for 20 years. And then I retired. I failed retirement. So then I have been at the alternative school in Perryton for, this is my 6th year, and I've enjoyed that a whole lot.
When did you first become aware that some people viewed the 65 and older group differently?
Okay. When I first started working at the alternative school, that would have been 6 years ago, when I would be 6 years younger than that. I would not be 65 then, but close. But at any rate, students were like, we had several retiree hires, and all the students were kind of like, you're old, you people are old, like Mr. Neff, myself, a couple of other teachers, and but soon that kind of evaporated, and honestly, since then, I've never had a student comment on my age. Now, other people in the world say things like, they always want to know if I'm going to go again, teach another year, like, are you going to teach next year? I don't know what the implication is, but I get that question a lot. Are you going to teach another year? I'm like, So I think, well, maybe until I feel like I need a walker or something. I don't know.
How does that knowledge affect you that some people view you differently?
I think they'll get there one of these days, and that's true.
What are some examples of some cultural issues that you might have within your age group?
Cultural issues within my age group. Maybe I guess that's the main one, a perception that, you should retire at 62, but I think, you hear all along that 50's the new 30 and 70's the new 50, possibly. I think you're as young as you feel. If you have a lot of fun and you're in good health, there really isn't any reason to quit, especially if you find your work to be fulfilling. And a lot of us, basically, we identify with what we do. So when you suddenly do nothing, that's not too good.
What do you think is the most important information that people who are not within your age group need to know about you?
Well, the condescending attitude from younger peers and things is problematic, I think, and it's probably on the perception that I might have. Generally, though, I think, they need to understand that the older teacher, for example, has a lot more experience and a lot more to offer in certain areas. Now, more than likely, they're more advanced in technology and things like that, but it's basically should sort of offset, in my opinion.
What was your first personal experience with discrimination because you were over 65?
I really can't say that I've experienced experienced that. Now, when I was much younger in my career, just being a female at the beginning of my school administration I was definitely discriminated a few times. But in the later years, I didn't feel that way. I really haven't felt that yet. I might experience it and I won't like it.
How would you handle it?
Probably not well.
Okay. How often would you say that you experience some sort of bias, discrimination, or even insensitivity? Would it be like once a week, once a day, more or less?
No. Really, like, as I said, when I first came here, the students kind of looked askance, like, why do we have all these old teachers? But that's gone away. And then now, when you have new ones come in and you have a carryover of ones that were here before, I just never do experience that anymore. So no, I don't.
Okay. How would you characterize your relationship with people of other races or cultural backgrounds and genders?
I think I have a very good relationship with, I don't see color as far as students, people, I really don't. There's probably one adult males in certain ethnic groups I don't view very positively, but as far as younger males in that same ethnic group, I'm good with for the most part. So I do see some differences.
What is the most valuable lesson that you learned from your parents, grandparents, or other relatives about being different from other people?
I would say, having grown up and with most of my relatives are all like middle class, working people, some of whom were educated and some weren't. They are salt of the earth, but maybe like not particularly, I wouldn't say they're racist, but they're just, feel more comfortable. There's a term for that, homophilic, when you feel more comfortable with people of your own race. And so I would say they were all definitely that way, but that's not a particular negative, but, we are starting to have family members that are of other ethnic groups, and they're embraced, and it's good for the whole family as a group. I witnessed that Thanksgiving, and it's good for us because we don't need to be all white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
What recommendations would you have for counselors that would want to work effectively with persons of your age group?
With my age group? Counselors that would work with my age group. Be respectful. Respect your elders.
Okay, thank you.